All right, Nick. Back in the saddle again, baby. This time, we're going to come in with some positive energy. We're going to find a way to come back and win a baseball game. Not only can we not score 2 runs typically over the course of 18 innings, we're going to score 2 runs, believe it or not, in 1 inning. Don't ask me how, but we might figure a way out. I'm past the point of being upset, really. I guess that's where I'm at. I'm just like, find a way to win. That's great. If not, we'll do it again tomorrow, you know?
Oh, right guy up.
Yeah, our backup catcher's in here to lead off the 9th. My guess is we'll have to get synced up here. But I'll say this. We don't need to get synced up until the tying run comes to the plate. Deal?
Oh, okay. Sure.
Well, that'll save you from having to do one more thing. Nice. To be fair, it's kind of hard to hit when you see, you get one at bat every few weeks.
Tito cooled him off. Might as well have stuck him in the freezer.
Yeah. Let's cap off a good night, Will. Get a base hit. It's not a strike. Yeah.
I'll just take a walk.
It's a good take. Yeah, get on base.
Go.
All right. Doesn't like that ball. It's the ball's fault. There we go. Not going to throw another ball, is he, Nick? He's not going to walk the guy. On 4 straight pitches.
Is.
4 straight pitches?
Sure is.
4 straight pitches?
We're syncing up because of Will Benson.
Baby.
Please don't get picked off, Will. Don't get picked off.
Just stand on first.
Don't ruin this energy. Don't ruin this energy. All right. I don't know. I mean,
I like that guy. I like that guy.
Player Will Benson. Him and Reese Hines, man, just a bunch of bums. Can't do anything. Got all these other talented players on this roster.
Hey,
terrible. Embarrassing.
One of the talented players did hit a home run and did hit a double tonight. So that's nice to see. I'm not gonna sit here and act like that wasn't nice to see. That was nice to see.
All right.
Come on.
I just saw the 1-0.
All right, the 1-0 inside, ball
clock.
1.
I'm at 13.
All right, pitch clock hasn't
give me
started
a 16. Give me a 16.
16, 15, 14, 13.
We're good.
All right, here we go. Can Matt McClain just hit one over the wall? Come on. Nope, that is not even close. Atlanta.
All right, Reese. Come on, Reese. If he pinches Connor Joe, I'm not doing the show. All right.
All right, he's in there. He's 0 for 3. Did hit a ball really hard earlier in the game, though. I must say, that ball was hit really well.
415 feet, not a home run in Great American Ballpark.
What was it, 403 feet or something? It wasn't 415 because it's only 404 to center, right?
I don't know.
Unless StatCast came up with a better number or something. Maybe it was 415 without wind. Wind knocked it down.
No, I think it's a true feet number.
Gotcha. Is using the radar. Please. No, that's not a strike.
Good
Okay.
take. Good take.
Good take. Good take. Good take.
Bench, change hit in the air to deep right field. That goes Clemente at the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball! He's gone! Oh my God! Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Perkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome Joe Landa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey Adam, how you doing? I'm good, how are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb. Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Reds win! Line to the right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line, doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves, throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream to get into the career of Jay Bruce.
Welcome into another Chatterbox Reds, and believe it or not, this one is very much the same as all the other ones. Another loss to the Chicago White Sox. Yes, you heard that right. The South Side folks of Chicago are pleased once again for 2 nights in a row, and for the first time on the road in a series in basically a year. So, if you're a Reds fan, you're going through it. They drop another game and lose 4-2. these are the moments where I think a lot of people are tuning in, wondering what I'm going to say and how I'm going to act, and who, what is left to be said. What is left to be said? I was starting to think to myself here as I was trying to contemplate my life, really genuinely, how I got to where I'm at, and Chatterbox is here, and this is what we've done, and how we got. I started to think, my livelihood really comes down to whether or not Cincinnati sports performs at some point relatively well. And that's just a really, really disheartening thought, because I don't know what to make of another show, which seems like we've done for 2 weeks in a row, and I guess we're going to try to do it again. I just want to say on the very front end of all of this, I really do appreciate supporting our small business, and it is that. It is very much that, and we're not a very big company. We got a couple employees. The fact that you guys tune in and watch this show on a nightly basis when things don't go right actually gives us somewhat of a chance to continue to be able to do this. Because you're better than me. You're better people than me. I will look you straight in your face and tell you right now, if I had to watch this team the way that I've been watching them over the last few nights, and I had an opportunity to choose what I wanted to do, whether I just wanted to go to bed or sit up and watch this show, I got to be honest, I'd probably be going to bed. But you guys have decided not to do that, and I just want to say thank you on the front end of all of this. What's said in this show from here on out, I have no clue. I got to tell you, Nick, we've done this show for quite some time now. I don't know how many shows we've done, but just basic quick math, we're 500 some odd shows. This is the first time before kind of going on air that I genuinely don't have much to say. And that's not good when you're trying to do a show, but what do you say, Nick? I mean, where do you go? What do you talk about? And I don't even know if you're going to have this answer, but if you don't, I guess we'll just go to the box score recap. And hopefully within that minute and a half of the box score recap, I'll come up with something.
Yeah, I wish I had an answer for you. Yeah, I don't. I don't know. You don't go into the series expecting to sweep the White Sox. We did that the whole thing with the Rockies, but you can't lose the series, man. You just can't lose a series after all the other things that have happened. It's just keeps piling up. And there was some good things tonight. There were some good things, but it's just at the point where no one cares about the good things anymore. So what do you say? Like, I can sit there and tell you some of the things I liked about tonight, but no one gives a shit. What do you do?
You nailed it right on its head. You know what's frustrating too here? I guess we'll get to the box score recap in just a moment. If you really, really care about the box score recap, we'll do it. Nick probably put his he worked hard on it, put his time, effort, and energy into making it, so we're going to do it. But while I have at least a little bit of a thought here, let's run with it, because I really don't know what you talk about in a show like this. What is so difficult about winning at home, Nick? Like, what is it about this team always letting us down what has seemed like the last few years? Every time they have a chance to really put the foot on the pedal and to come home and to put together a great homestand, they have felt straight on their face every single time. And that goes all the way back to 2023. I remember vividly, I don't know if you remember, Nick, I remember vividly having the NL Central lead, having the Milwaukee Brewers to come into town, and they absolutely just drilled us. Weren't even competitive. You fast forward into this year, you get to a spot, Nick, where you're playing some decent baseball. You're 3 games over 500. You have the Cardinals come into town, who aren't that great, and you lay an egg. The Washington Nationals, you lay an egg. And now we got the White Sox, and you lose the series. And to your point, no, I didn't expect them to sweep the series. Of course I didn't. But we would be lying, Nick, if we didn't say you look at this homestand. I mean, you go 6-2. Heaven forbid, you sneak out a 7-1. Hopefully I got the numbers right, but you get my point. Then you kind of change the trajectory of what this whole season looks like. I mean, we've been talking about 2 weeks to give us a good chance of what this looks like. I hate to say this, but if they don't get their acting gear relatively very soon, we're not even going to make it to then, Nick. Like, we're going to bury ourselves so deep into this hole, you can't get out of it.
Here's the home numbers in case you want them. 9-12 this year, 39-42 last year, 38-43 in 2023. They were 44-37. Obviously, they were below 500 in 2022. They were actually a little bit better. And then they were really, really good in 2021. Like 2021 was one of the Reds' like probably best seasons at home. 2023, some of that might be a little bit inflated because a lot of that 12-game win streak came on the road. So I think that probably maybe inflated their road numbers a little bit, but it's just bizarre that this team has been this bad in their home ballpark. I know like baseball obviously doesn't have nearly that home field advantage of everywhere else, but there's still, if you look at any metrics, you still get a boost at home. You look at, betting money lines, like if a team's at home with the exact same roster versus the road, you're going to get a boost at home. So I don't know what it is. I hope that it's just some weird coincidence and it turns around, but it's certainly frustrating, especially when you're trying to sell to a fan base and come down to the ballpark. I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's like tonight, if they would have gone out and won 7-1, does it change the outlook of the whole entire season? No. Does it make you feel like that they've turned a corner? I think it would have. And that's all I'm asking for right now. Show me something that looks different than what I've watched for the past, what seems like 2 weeks now. And I think I sit here and I get frustrated because it's like, oh, just make an adjustment. Make an adjustment. Find a way to put the barrel of the bat on the ball, or find a way to get the runner over, or find a way to get the runner in. But my fear is, Nick, and I obviously I did the post about it. Like, my fear is I just don't know if we're good enough. I don't know if this team has players on it that are good enough. And I was kind of looking through the lineup tonight, Nick. Like, you get towards the back half of the game, right? Let's just say on the front end, Espinal versus a right-handed pitcher, he's not very good. He's not. We've talked about that before. Well, let's just say that again to be very clear. We're not anti-Espinal. In fact, I promoted and I said I'd like to get Espinal in the lineup as much as we can while he was red hot. But I also said the same thing with Austin Wynns. What I mean by that is just play them every day until they have like an 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 game, and then from there maybe you sit them a day or so. Blah 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 blah. But Espinal is hitting against right-handed pitching. That's not good. Lux in the 7th or 8th inning. I think it was the 8th inning, Nick. I mean, he's a leadoff hitter in an inning. In the 8th inning, you're down by a couple runs, and he's going lefty on lefty. He's terrible lefty on lefty. Espinal's terrible against right-handed pitching. So then you got 2 guys that aren't very good at the top of your lineup against certain situations. And that's at the end of the game. That's what happened. Ellie's struggled. I want to just openly say that. Ellie has struggled. We need Ellie to be able to tap into that power. And I am thankful in a weird way there was Barry Larkin was sitting there giving me a sermon on why it was okay for Ellie to hit a ton of ground balls, and it leads to guys making errors, et cetera, et cetera. It was very poetic that Ellie kind of hit a ball hard in the air, and the guy in the outfield actually made an error and allowed him to get a double. But then you go down Hayes has been inconsistent. He's not been in the lineup. He's been hurt. He's coming in. He's coming out. And then from there, all the way down, they're borderline major league players. I think that's fair to say. And I'm not trying to rip Steer. Steer had a great night tonight. I get ahead of that too. I'm glad that Steer showed a little bit of a pop, showed a little pop. But if you ask me, like, I think if you ask any major league team that was competing for a postseason, hey, do you guys want Spencer Steer? I don't know how many are saying that they want him. And that's kind of my point here. How many of these guys do other teams even want that we're running out there hoping and praying that they're going to turn the corner and or be better? I just don't think there's many of them. And I'm trying to be nice, too. Like, the hard part about this delicate line in the sand that I play, Nick, is, on one hand, Nick, I know that this is our livelihood. I know that you can't sit here and you can't bash the one thing that you represent and you try to do a good job covering on a daily basis, right? If I told you guys, hey, this season's a wash, don't ever watch again, don't even worry about watching the rest of the games, that's degrading to our product. That's degrading to what we do. So I on one hand, I don't want to do that because I'm selfishly, I want them to be good enough to stay relevant so we can have a discussion and we can build some camaraderie in the chat. We can have fun. We can huddle our kids around the television and we can watch meaningful baseball. That would be fantastic. But on the other hand, I feel like a phony and a fake if I sit here and I continue to say, well, that this is going to happen, that's going to happen, no big deal, it's only May, come back and see me in the middle of July and everything will be fine. I just don't feel that way. And I'm never going to lie to people, and I don't suspect you to either. So I'm just openly telling everybody, we can sit here on a nightly basis and sit here and ask ourselves what's going on, and I think it's pretty obvious what's going on. We got a lot of young players that are at best right now borderline major league players, and if they are not borderline major league players, there are guys like Elly De La Cruz who are starting to bud into what we would call having a major league career. They're not established yet. They're not legitimate big league baseball players yet. Of course Elly's a big leaguer. Of course he is. But he's not going to be the superstar right now that's going to lead us to a World Series. I hope that's the case in a couple years. But that's not where he's at right now. And I feel like we hold some of these guys to a standard because we expect them to do that because of what happened in 2023, to be clear. That's just not fair to many of these guys. It's not fair. I'm not saying it's that they're making a lot of money. I'm openly, I'm saying is that we got a problem. We all know the problem. We either can't spend money. Nick Krall doesn't have a budget to go out and actually get guys in an offseason to actually help fill these holes that we all complain about. Right? Or, I don't believe this to be the case, or we have a situation where we decided not to spend money because we're planning on spending it later or next year. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's real, but I'm just hypothetically saying that's possible too. So we need better players. And development is maybe the biggest concern of them all, Nick, is because we've seen some guys that in 2023 look like they were ready to bust through the door to becoming big league ball players. And now we find ourselves, Nick, 2 years later, and we don't have a lot more confidence in many of these guys, if we're being honest. Outside of Elly, I have all the confidence in Elly. But outside of him, am I missing somebody that I'm just like, hey, he hasn't missed a beat?
No. I mean, I have confidence in some other players, but they haven't really shown a whole lot.
Okay. We have some super chats to get to. We'll do the box score recap here just now.
I got one thing.
You got something to add?
Just to add to the home. Just add to the home thing. Something I was looking up. Yeah, Reds just they get out homered in their home ballpark. This year the Reds have hit 19 home runs at Great American Ballpark. Their opponents have hit 28. Last year, Reds hit 101. Their opponents hit 113. So, I mean, other teams... And the Reds have good pitching. It's not like the Reds have a bad pitching staff either. And the Reds don't have a pitching staff that I think necessarily gives up all that many home runs either. Like, is a home run-prone giving up pitching staff. So, yeah, I mean, that's a problem for the Reds. And... you can keep running Santiago Espinal out in the number 2 hole against right-handed pitching.
That's crazy.
And again, does this matter? No. Everyone actually got the exact same amount of at-bats tonight. It doesn't matter a ton, but man, it's just stupid. It's just ignorant. There's no reason a big league team should be running Santiago Espinal out as their number 2 hole hitter. It's insanity.
I'm going to add something really quickly with Tito. I think that there is some value here, Nick, when you're able to show confidence in guys and you're able to give some guys what we would call the everyday experience I think that there is some value there. But I must say that I think that only works if you have legitimate big league everyday players. Like, it's like if you're managing the Boston Red Sox and you have 7 or 8 guys in the lineup, that splits aren't going to be crazy different. And realistically speaking, even if the splits are different, they're not so dramatic that you have a situation like Espinal, who's one of the worst hitters against right-handed pitching that you could have. Like, if that's not the case, then you can get away with just throwing the same lineup out there all the time. Dusty Baker was fortunate, right? Like, in Cincinnati, Dusty was fortunate. And I give Dusty a lot of credit because he's won everywhere he's went. But the truth is, he had a good team. He had a good roster, a good lineup. That helps. And I guess, Tito did this in Cleveland, but now we find ourselves in a position where it feels like Tito has just dug his heels in on some of these guys that I just don't understand why we have to bet Espinal in the 2-hole. Like, why do we have to do that? And yeah, you can say lineups don't matter and et cetera, but it does matter, Nick, when you finally get some momentum going. And next thing you know, you got 2 guys on with 2 outs, and that's happened. And Espinal comes rolling to the plate against a right-handed pitcher, and it's just like it kills all the momentum. And you're right, Nick. There's a good chance maybe it doesn't matter at all. Like, there's a chance of that. But when you're already bad, let's not make it worse. That's kind of how I feel. It seems like we're already fighting the uphill battle. Let's just take the life vest off and see if we can't swim without it. And is it Tito's fault totally? Of course it's not. And that's what sucks about this whole thing. Some people aren't going to like me for what I say here. I don't know if it's any one person's fault. You can point to the ownership group and say it's totally their fault. I don't know if it's totally their fault. I mean, they allowed the front office to go out and sign guys like Moustakas, and they allowed the front office to go out and sign guys like Candelario. They obviously had the pocketbook to be able to get Martinez. And I'm not, Nick, let me be very clear when I'm saying this. I'm not trying to defend and say that Martinez isn't worth the money. What I'm going to say is when you look at the overall roster as a collective and you say, where do you really want to spend the money on trying to help fix some holes? I don't know if Martinez is the right play there. But again, to be clear, I'm just going to go back and go step by step here. The ownership group, of course, lacks the funds to be able to go out and compete with the big dogs. We all know that. We get that. I'm not here to defend the ownership group. I'm just saying I'm not going to put all the onus on that one set of circumstance, which is how much money we spend. And it's not a lot, to be clear. Because there's other franchises that spend around the same amount of money that have had success. Although unlikely, they have had success. So then you trickle it down to the front office, and I would say the front office, you can't really blame them totally because they are hamstrung financially. They have made some relatively good moves. Gavin Lux was a good move. I'd say Austin Hayes was a good move.
Trevino,
great move. And it's not as if Martinez was a complete bust. There's a chance that he kind of owns up or lives up to the amount of money that you are paying him, right? But at the end of the day, can you put it all on him or the front office? I don't know if you can. And then it trickles down to the manager, and then you're going to go to the same thing with the managers. He's batting Espinal in the 2-hole. He has been very, very reluctant to try to make sure that he gives opportunities to guys like, and again, maybe that's the front office, but Will Benson and Rhys Hines should be getting more opportunities than what they've been given based off of what I see. Will Benson had a great night tonight. Maybe he's terrible for the rest of the year, but I know this. I've watched a lot of Reds baseball this year. Will Benson, that guy that we seen tonight, you don't think he can stick it on this team? Are you kidding me? I mean, Rhys Hines was a what, 3 feet away from a home run, and he hit one of the basically the farthest ball you can hit in Great American Ballpark without it going out. And yeah, he went 0 for 4 or 0 for 5 or whatever it was. But again, we're just in a spot where Tito's hamstrung, and then I guess it's the players ultimately, but I guess the player situation is I don't know if they're good enough to get mad at.
I don't think it's a Nick Martinez thing or replacing him with someone else. I think it's a much larger problem than that. If you didn't have Nick Martinez right now, your rotation would look really bad. Because remember, Chase Petty's technically in this rotation right now. Who's the guy starting behind him if they're not going to call up Chase Burns? And let's not act like calling up Chase Burns is a surefire thing either. So you need both. You needed both. The problem is that when the Reds have something go wrong, they don't have the depth to overcome it. And that's what the Brewers have done. And that's why the Brewers have been successful and the Reds haven't, is they just don't have enough depth. And that's not something you can fix overnight. You're never going to fix in this city, whether you want to hear this or not, by spending. It's just not going to happen. You have to continue to grind away and draft well and develop and make smart strategic trades. And they've done a lot of things good, but they haven't done enough.
Yeah, it's the sombering point that you made. I think that anybody that starts to look at the finances and listen, I have tried from a business mind perspective to look at this Reds franchise as a whole and ask myself what I would do differently. You know, what would you do differently if you're the Castellinis? And the truth of the matter is, there's just not and people are going to think that I'm trying to stick up for them. To be clear, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just telling you my genuine opinion of it all. You can get mad at ownership all you want, but if me, you, or anyone else was in the same boat as the Castellinis, I think that the outlook in the spend and the amount of kind of resources you put towards things would be relatively the same. I mean, you're not going to put your whole entire generational family's worth at risk to try to win 5 extra baseball games in a season because your front office told you that that's exactly what they need to get over the hump. That's not going to happen. And whether or not they're making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars every single year, maybe they are. I don't know. They haven't opened up the books. Maybe they never will open up the books. I always say that if they actually genuinely are running this franchise like a nonprofit where they're not making any money, then just show the books. Why not show the books? But I think there's an obvious reason as to why you don't show the books. So I just think, Nick, it is sombering when you look at it all and you say the only way this Reds team can genuinely win is if they do find a way to develop guys. And that's maybe the biggest area of concern because it just seems like they've not done a good job of developing guys. And this goes back a way, this isn't just the last year or two. This is the last 10 years. They've just not done a good job of taking this young talent and being able to develop it into what they say it's going to be. And maybe we've been bamboozled into thinking some of these guys are better than they actually are. But the truth is like, I think like even Nick Senzel's a decent example of all of this. It's just like, how many times are you going to have a young prospect come up and it just seems like you're just treading water forever to get to a point where they're finally going to break out? We don't have any Ronald Acuñas, you know? Like, and I know Wander Franco's not a guy to bring up on a night like tonight, but my point is like he looked the part for a while. So I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it's frustrating. I don't have an answer because I don't think that there's a good one. That's the problem. There's not a good answer to where this Reds franchise is right now. And if you want me to pump you up and make you feel better about it, I can't do it. I can't do it. I rely on you to kind of do this. I rely on you to say, hey, Trace, you're overblowing this, X, Y, Z. The issue is that you can only do this for so long until you stop believing in prospects, right? And I think that that's where some people are at. And I'm not here to say that there aren't some prospects that are around the corner that are worth getting excited for. But, you know, Arroyo is a guy that has a shoulder injury, and what's he going to look like on his way back up? I don't know. Cam Collier, he gets hurt. What's he going to look like? It just seems like we can't ever catch a break and have a class of kids come up here and be the part. And maybe this is because I'm rambling at this point because we've lost 2 games in a row to the White Sox, and I feel absolutely demoralized. But I really genuinely thought that this group that we had was going to be it. I thought that was going to be it. And I thought by 2025, Nick, we would be in a completely different spot. And it just seems like we're not. But we could do the box score recap if you're ready for that, if you want.
Well, why don't you do some super chats first?
Let's do that.
People waiting. Yeah.
All right. Super chats. Here we go. Let me scroll up to the top. Why? I'm getting a chat summary that's in my way. There we go. All right, I got it.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah, what a stupid thing. I had to give it a thumbs up. Jacob Doyle says SOS. Yes, thank you, Jacob, for supporting this show each and every single night. Alex Binyaz Harris says, I wish I got millions to be water trash at my job.
Don't hold back, Alex.
Yeah, dude. I mean, isn't that a good point, though? Like, there are some people that just make... Yeah. Caleb Koch says, my first and second grade softball team hits better. What a joke. Yeah, it's tough. It's been a tough few days here. Scobie's coming back in again. I tell you what, Scobie, you are supporting this show, and I really do appreciate that, Scobes. He says, by the way, guys, I indeed did not have any edible gummies last night because I was at work. But tonight, after that home run, I just gave up. I just gave up, laugh out loud, but I will never give up as a fan. There is my optimism. There you go, Scobie. I think it's about the only way to take in a Reds baseball game at this point. Dustin Croft says, what's the chances Tito is one and done? Rough. Depends on how bad this gets. I mean, if this gets really, really bad, you win 65 games this year. It's possible. I mean, he might just say, the hell with it. I don't need to do this anymore. Mott Fish Flakes says, why can't we hit? We play in a hitter's park. Great question. Don't know.
I wish we had the answer for that one, brother.
Yeah, I think it's because we're not very good, but we'll see. Ricky Williams with a big super chat says, at least we're suffering together. Appreciate everything you guys do. Please remember the Big Red Machine. Oh, I remembered it tonight, baby. I mean, if you listen to the broadcast, there was nothing but the Big Red Machine on for about 6 innings of that game. Speaking of the Big Red Machine, the next super chat's coming from him. Thank you, Nick and Trace, for giving us all nightly Reds talk, no matter win or lose. Keep giving us needed in-depth analysis. It will get better, in all caps. It will get better. Will it? If the Cards can go on a 9-game streak, so can we. Don't get me started on the Cardinals. I mean, just think about the direction those two teams have gone since we've seen each other in the ballpark last week.
I don't think it was us, but I don't remember who it was. And I'm not even trying to I'm not trying to make a dig at them. Mm-hmm. But someone said, "All right, the Reds are playing the Cardinals. The Reds have a chance to put the nail in the Cardinals' coffin in this series if they win it." It's just it's gone very different.
No, it's not worked out. Tim Barnes says, Elliott says it best. The front office did nothing but give fringe players on a good let me reread this. Elliott says it best. The front office did nothing but get fringe players on good teams. Tito can't turn a below average team into a contender. Well, here's the thing about that, Tim, though. What I would say is that seemed to be what everybody said that David Bell should be doing. That seemed to be what everybody seemed like they were suggesting when Tito Francona took over the role, is that he could take these same players and make them contenders. And I would say, if there's anything that we can all take away from this whole entire situation, is that we should really rationalize what the manager's capabilities truly are. David Bell, at this moment, there's a lot of people in Cincinnati that probably should probably just apologize. Nolan Swagalicious, long time listener. What?
Body stays vicious. doing the whole
Fergalicious.
Yeah.
Long time listener, first time chatter. Don't worry about viewership, Trace. Misery loves company. That's a good one. Oh, do we have so many super chats tonight? You'd have thought the Reds are like 5 games in front of they're 5 games ahead in the NL Central. Nope. Instead, we're on the verge of getting swept by the Chicago White Sox, a team that hasn't won a road series in a year. And Quilla the Great says the Reds aren't built to bat in their own stadium. That's the key problem they have at home. They perform best at stadiums most unlike GAPP, and that is an excellent point by him. If we're being completely honest, how many times have we watched this baseball team, Nick, play in stadiums like whatever it's called in San Francisco? I don't know what it's called anymore. Is it PNC Park? I don't know if it is or not. But the point is, you watch them play in San Francisco, you watch them play in Kansas City, and you think to yourself, man, this is the type of like field this team needs. Major, massive outfield to be able to hit some of these kind of, you know, line drives that would ultimately maybe be caught in Great American because it's the field's shrunken down. It doesn't get caught in these massive outfields. Great point. I don't know. We'll talk about that in just a minute. I think that's worth kind of circling back to. Gadzook says Nick Krall passed on the present to chase the future. Sometimes you never catch the future. Just ask Baltimore fans what chasing the future has done for them. I don't know how he stays without a playoff run. That's a sombering super. Nick, I think that's something we can roundabout back up. We got a good show. Post office says $1.99. Thanks for the post office work. Appreciate that. USPS always deliver my mail on time, at least in my neighborhood, so I very much appreciate it. I know you guys get a bad rap, post office, but they might give you a bad rap because you didn't put anything in the super chat for me to read. So here we are, post office. Thank you for your super that you didn't put anything in. If you meant to do something, put it in all caps. I might be able to find it. Buckeye DNA says, not sure how you both keep doing these shows. Respect. Patrick King, final one before we jump on, says, why is it a small market team like the Padres has a balance like developing and signing guys and they always get it right? Well, their owner there for a minute was basically had terminal illness, so I think that he wasn't too overly worried about money for that one season or 2 seasons.
I don't know all the ins and outs, but I remember they're like in a battle over money, and his late wife kind of wants to keep the same type of spending up, but the brothers don't. And I don't. We'll see how the Padres turn out, but they're probably the one outlier of that. Like there's not another one. I don't know how many small market owners are have a happy fan base other than San Diego. You could probably sell the team for
Cleveland
90% of them. No, they hate them up here. They're protesting. They've been to the playoffs 10 times in the last 15 years, and they're protesting on opening day. Fire the Dolans. Like,
yeah.
No one likes the Roaders, man, in small markets of baseball outside of the Padres. That's
even the Mets. I mean, listen, the Mets fans were complaining about their owner because he was not getting the right guys, spending a bunch of money on guys that weren't good. I don't know. It is always something. Reed Mouse says, ha, ha, ha. Reds suck.
Did he super that?
He did. I really appreciate him. He's he's a company man. Thank you, Reed. Appreciate it. All right.
Cubs lost tonight.
I don't pay. That's the one thing you got to realize is the good news is that once when you don't have a relevant franchise, you don't pay attention to them. I don't really know if the Cubs won or lost. I'm sure he's going to chime in and tell me they're at the top, which is fine. We'll find a way to blow it. All right. I'll tell you what. You got a box score recap?
I got a box score recap.
Let's do it for the love.
Let's run through
an hour into the show.
All right, Reds taking on the Chicago White Sox. Game 2 of 3 at Great American Ballpark. Nick Lodolo got hit pretty hard, probably in some ways fortunate to only give up 3 runs over 5 1/3. Reds trailed 3-0 when Lodolo left the game. Barlow gave up a solo home run in the 7th. That put the Reds down 4-0. Reds offense finally got on the board in the 7th inning when Spencer Steer hit his 4th home run of the season to make it 4-1. That was the only run that Davis Martin allowed in 6 2/3 innings. Congrats to Davis Martin. That was his longest big league career start. Had never gone past 6 innings before. The Reds snapped a streak of 0 for their last 26 with runners in scoring position when Austin Hayes singled home Elly De La Cruz in the 8th inning to make it a 4-2 game. Reds would bring the tying run to the plate after Will Benson walked in the 9th, but Matt McClain flew out, and Rhys Hines grounded out to end the game. Reds fall to 20-24 on the season, and the Chicago White Sox win their first series on the road this season after entering with a 3-17 record away from Chicago.
All right, we got a deep drive of the day. It came off the bat of Spencer Steer. Nice to see him get going. 103 off the bat. Kind of felt like that Chris Paul meme, though, for being completely honest. You know, the one where it says Chris Paul drains a 3. Rockets trail by 43. 392 feet would cut the lead 4-1. The run with a win probability would jump double. It would double. It would jump 5%, and the win probability at the time would be 11%. As we all know, it would end up being 0%. Shout out to DSC though, because they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Game time. Nick, I don't really call into the bullpen on many of these, but
I'm happy to take over.
You got a script on the game time, guys?
Well, I thought I did.
I can buy you some time.
Well, they're the best for last minute tickets. I
you.
certainly know that.
Yes.
That's where I like to always check out the Game Time app because you can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. They have all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature. It shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views, panoramic views from your seat. And as always, the lowest price guaranteed or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CBOX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CBOX, CBOX, for $20 off. What time is it?
Game time. It's
and
also,
as
it's all,
always,
yeah, this is very, this is what time it is. Go ahead, Nick.
As always, we want to remind you that you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health. Whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between, it's a 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org. It's okay not to be okay.
All right. I think it's very appropriate that you bring up the positives.
Spencer Steer got a good day. Good day for Spencer Steer. 2 extra base hits. Really good to see. Gavin Lux had a good day. 3 hard hit balls. Had 2 hits as well. Will Benson, 3 hard hit balls. Walk, hit, made several good catches. And then Rhys Hines had the best swing of the day. Just didn't get the result. I believe it was a home run in 26 out of 30 ballparks. So, look, I mean, Will Benson and Rhys Hines might completely fall on their face. I think we all know that, but yep. I'd like to see that. I like to see it. To be honest, I'd like to see it because I think they just at least give you some upside. And what we talked about not hitting enough homers in the ballpark, they give you a chance to at least maybe, close the gap on that a little bit.
All right, let's jump into a couple quick things here before we do MILB and up next. I do want to kind of keep this show, without going off the rails. I think that when you get into these types of topics that I'm getting ready to bring up, they could be long or long-winded. I'm going to try my best, and I'm sure Nick will do his best to kind of keep this thing on track here. But there was a couple supers that got me thinking here, just really quickly. The Reds aren't built to bat in their own stadium. We have brought this up before, Nick. Like, it does feel like the Reds perform better when they play in these big open ballparks that feel like the outfield is absolutely massive. I don't know if it's kind of a coincidental thing, Nick, where that's just happened over the handful of 15 to 20 games, and they just were fortunate to play well in those 15 to 20 games, and next thing you know, you think that there's something to it, but there really wasn't. It just kind of was luck of the draw. Do you put much credence to that? Like, do you think that there's some merit there, or?
Yeah, I don't think the Reds have enough power. I think they need to develop that. I mean, the biggest thing they were hoping for to address this started really probably, I guess, at the 2022 trade deadline into last offseason with the acquisition of CES and then signing Jeimer Candelario. I mean, those were two guys that you don't have to squint to think they could hit 25, 30 home runs. In fact, I think both players, either this year or last year, were projected to hit over 25 home runs. So those guys would have panned out like you were hoping to. That would have fixed a lot of that. I don't think it would have fixed all the issues. I don't think it would have made this team all of a sudden a legitimate power hitting team. But I don't think it would be this drastic where it's this hopeless. I don't know. You just have to hope in some ways until you can kind of try to find ways to correct this more, that someone like Rhys Hines does develop and does take off, or Will Benson, because those are two guys that have that. Cam Collier, he's quite a ways away. Cam Collier that's one of the reasons I'm higher on Cam Collier probably than a lot of people, because he does fit that. I mean, he's a guy that could absolutely just rake in this ballpark and could provide a lot of that power. So, I mean, there's a couple guys, Hector Rodriguez, Sal Stewart, probably not too terribly far away. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have to supplement that with a legit power hitter. And I don't know, maybe Austin Hayes can kind of be that guy. It's just he hasn't stayed on the field. I mean, so it's hard to really have a gauge on him.
And I know what your opinion has been on this in the past. I'm just curious what you think here as we move forward into kind of the futures of Ellie and Hunter Green. Gadslooks did say, hey, Nick Krall passed on the present to chase the future. Sometimes you never catch the future. Just ask Baltimore fans what chasing the future has done for them. There is a fine, delicate balance, right, Nick, of trying to make sure that you do give your a team the best chance to possibly go and win a World Series championship, while also not just completely selling out and undercutting the remainder of your farm system that might be able to supplement your team in a few years and continue to keep you competitive. The issue, though, that this fan base is going to run into, Nick, is that we've not been competitive for so long that just being honest, like the confidence, if you want to call it that, of this fan base to believing that there's ever going to be some semblance of consistent winning and consistent ability to get to the postseason. And when I say consistent, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 years, Nick. I'm talking about 6, 7, 8, 9 years in a row. The reality is I guess the Guardians have figured out a way to do that, but the Reds clearly have not. And how realistic is it, the way that baseball is going, to have a small market really have a chance to stay competitive over the course of a decade? It seems like those chances are long gone. But your thoughts on that before we kind of move into maybe MILB and up next?
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, the Brewers have done it. The Guardians have done it. The Rays have done it. I think it's possible, but it's a grind. And the one thing you can't do is you can't just try to fix these problems overnight as a small market. That's how you end up being the Colorado Rockies. They go out, they sign Chris Bryant. Hey, we're going to try to fix it. And I think everyone's like, you gave Chris Bryant that much money when you signed him? And look how that's turned out for them. So you can't just try to fix this stuff overnight either. And I'm just as frustrated as everyone else, but these are not short-term fixes. Like, everyone wanted to go out and sign Anthony Santander, and he might end up having a great season, but he's 30 years old with a 192 average and a 597 OPS. I mean, he has just the same risk of being Jeimer Candelario. So you can't sign bad guys because you're pissed off and tired of losing, or you're just going to make this problem even worse and even more dire. So it's a grind, and that's the most brutal part of this, is that you can't fix this overnight. I don't know. I just hope this team can get hot, and we can at least kind of see the vision again. The problem is the National League. It's really hard to see this team getting enough wins. I mean, I think this team's going to get hot at some point, but I was talking to someone earlier today. It's just hard to see this team getting hot enough to get into the high 80s in wins.
Correct. And I guess more or less at this point, what does the outlook look for this franchise? And listen, we're not going to do this song and dance on a night like tonight for many valid reasons, but I got to tell you guys, like, if you find yourself watching the show and you're thinking to yourself like, hey, why can't the Reds do this, this, and this? There's a lot of reasons behind why they can't do it, and a lot of the reasons are things that you can't control and you can't fix. When you have ownership groups going out that are basically treating these franchises like they're a hobby, and they don't use any business acumen at all to try to put forth some reasoning behind being able to sign guys for this much money, it inflates the market. It makes the market look like it's something better than it truly is. Let's be honest. Baseball doesn't bring in the revenue, not even close to the amount of revenue that is needed for guys to be getting like $1 billion contracts. It makes no sense. Now, it makes sense if you kind of start to, in what I would call like daddy's piggy bank. Like, sure, if you got a hobby and you want to spend a bunch of money on a hobby because you like to see it happen or flourish, or, you almost want to make your family proud because you got a lot of money and you can spend it on these guys, it doesn't make financial sense. It doesn't even make any kind of baseball sense to do that. But the real problem, to get down to it, that I hope baseball fixes, because if not, I really am concerned about the sport as a whole, is that there's no what's the right word? There's no competitive disadvantage to paying a guys a bunch of money and missing on them. And until that happens, it's going to be really hard for us to be consistently what I would call competitive, because we don't have we're on the complete opposite spectrum of that. And I know that is a deep conversation, and that's a very, very difficult one. And I know there's people that are very, very hard fast on both sides of that aisle. I am pro player as much as anybody, but I am telling everybody that the next time the CBA comes around, it is the most important collective bargaining agreement in the history of the sport from a competitive standpoint. And I hope they do something that allows us to sit here and do nothing but critique the front office, because that would be awesome. If I felt like this team was bad for 20 years in a row strictly because they were completely incompetent, I would say so. But the reality is, if we had an endless piggy bank like some of these franchises do, we could have kept all of these guys. Like, we could have had Sonny Gray, we could have had Castillo, we could have had all those guys the year that we needed starting pitching in 2023, and we would have made the postseason. Like, it is what it is. So it's no reason to get completely upside down about it, but that's just my thought on all of it. All right. Reds, they have other teams in the farm system. And by farm system, I am talking about the big league club. They just happen to have other teams that play probably at times a similar level, but they actually play below Major League Baseball. One of those is in Louisville. Nick, take it away.
All right, let's start off with a little Reds MILB. Louisville, they lost 9-8 to Indianapolis. Alexis Díaz gave up a walk-off single, bats 19 and 21 on the season. Blake Dunn, 1-for-1 with a walk, stole a base, but Blake Dunn, this poor guy, got hit by a pitch in the head in the fifth inning. I think it's the third or fourth time this poor guy's got hit in the head in the last 2 years. Just unbelievable. Did look okay, walked off the field, seemed to be okay. Jacob Hurtubise continues to struggle, 0 for 4. Avon Johnson, 2 for 2. Nice day, though, for Connor Phillips. Retired all 4 batters he faced with the strikeout. Ian Jabot threw a scoreless inning, did give up a couple base runners, but struck out 2. Jabot looked pretty good during his rehab assignment. Zach Maxwell threw a scoreless inning. And then, as mentioned, Alexis Díaz wasn't necessarily as bad. The walk-off hit that he gave, I think it was hit like 58 miles per hour. I didn't see it, but it must have been, certainly appeared to be a weak hit single. All right, Chattanooga, they lost 1-0 to Birmingham. Lookouts have now lost 5 consecutive games to fall to 16-18. Edwin Arroyo, 1 for 3 with a walk. Sal Stewart and Hector Rodriguez both 0 for 4. Ethan O'Donnell, 1 for 3 with a walk. But the story of this one was Chase Burns, 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no walk, 7 strikeouts. His numbers this season between Dayton and Chattanooga, unbelievable. 2.38 ERA in 30 2/3 innings, 7 walks, 48 strikeouts. The Dayton Dragons, they just went final. This poor franchise this year, they gave up 5 runs in the 9th inning to lose 7-6. Leo Balcazar had a 4-hit day. Yerlin Confident on a 2-hit day with a triple, but another brutal loss for the Dragons. Nestor Laurent, 2 runs over 4 innings. The Daytona Tortugas, they lost 2-1 to St. Lucie, but Sammy Stafora was 3 for 4 with a stolen bases, 8th of the season. Alfredo Duno, 3 for 4 with a double. Carlos Sanchez, 1 for 4 with a triple. And then we do have some ACL. The Arizona Complex League is in action currently. We're in the bottom of the 7th. The ACL Rangers lead the ACL Reds 4-3. Shang Lin has walked. He has walked. So that's good to see. But the story of this one, Tyson Lewis hit another home run. Well, his first home run, but he hit another ball incredibly hard. 115 off the bat. Tyson Lewis, Red's 2nd-round pick, is looking incredible so far to start his professional career. And then Luis Antigua is 1 for 3. That is your Reds MILB.
All right, folks, please do me a favor if you haven't already. Like the stream. The fact that there's this many people in here on a night like tonight, I just want to say again, thank you. We appreciate everybody that supports the show. Hopefully at some point we're going to get an opportunity, whether it be at Reds Fest or Reds games that are meaningful. Come up and say hi and genuinely thank you for supporting what we do. It's not easy. It's not easy to not only tune in, but to do a show after this. It's just, we're fans first. I hope people realize that. I mean, it's just disappointing, and hopefully they can find a way to get hot, because the thing that we're all dying for, man, is just the taste of it again, right? Like just the taste of meaningful baseball. As the weather starts to cool off, you have to put a hoodie on because it's starting to get too cold at night. Stadium's filled. Seeing some of those shots tonight of the stadium being full was a little invigorating. Like that was nice to see. Don't expect it to be like that all the time for obvious reasons, but it was nice to see the stadium being full. So hopefully we'll be back here tomorrow. We got a little bit of who, what, when, where, and why. And like the stream if you haven't already. But Nick, we got to come back tomorrow. What are we in for?
The sun hopefully comes up tomorrow. We're in for Bryce Wilson, 0-1, 4.88 ERA. He's dominated the Reds over his career. 2.21 ERA in 14 appearances. Last season, a 0.69 ERA in 13 innings, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks. Kind of a journeyman pitcher that, for whatever reason, has dominated the Reds. Friedel, Benson, and De La Cruz have all homered off of Wilson. Reds are going with Nick Martinez. Martinez has gone 6 innings in each of his last 3 starts with a 2.50 ERA. Maybe even more impressive, has not walked a batter in his last 2 starts. Martinez has a 6.43 career ERA against the White Sox, but all of his struggles came in 2014 and 2015. So not a whole lot there. Active White Sox, just 3 for 17 against Nick Martinez. 12:40 start time. If you are out of the Cincinnati market and have cable, it is on MLB Network.
All right, folks, positive vibes. Let's see if we can't figure out a way tomorrow to win a baseball game. Until then, very much appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your night.